We should tell you, major events across the globe are being canceled. That's weighing on the global economy, postponed or even going virtual to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus. Joining us right now to discuss the economic impact is Richard Attias. He is executive chairman of Richard Attias and Associates. It's a global advisory firm. He's developed and led some of the globe's most prominent events, including the World Economic Forum in Davos. Good morning to you, Richard.
Good morning, Andrew.
So help us try to understand what's going on with all of these events across the world, the decision-making. So many of them have already been shuttered, those that are taking place in April and May.
Yeah.
What I'm interested about is what's going to happen in June and July and August and September. And then I want to get into a conversation about the world of insurance for events like this.
I think it's a very important question. First of all, we need to put in perspective the impact of our event industry. It's a $1.2 trillion industry. So it's not a small one, and it's supposed to grow to achieve $2 trillion by 2026.
And that's the events business alone. That's taking out the air. That's
Absolutely.
Taking out the hotels.
We are just talking about conferences, sport events, so far and so on. So today we live in a period of time where we have no visibility. My conviction is that we should cancel events, and postpone and reschedule all events for the next 2 months.
For the next 2 months?
Absolutely.
So that brings you
worldwide
through June 1st?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why? Because when I observe, I'm not an expert from the World Health Organization, but when I look at what is happening, the peak of coronavirus in China was end of January. The peak now in the Middle East, it's happening probably end of March. We see that grow. The peak in Europe, when I hear all the European leaders, it's expected to be by end of April. And in the United States, I don't know, but only the past 2 days, the number of coronavirus cases doubled. So I think that the next 2-3 months, we should not have any potential hope because the public opinion is scared. So we should have a consensus of definitely canceling and postponing everything until end of May.
So do you have clients who don't want to cancel right now?
We have clients who are waiting the very last minute, which has a very bad impact on the economy. You cannot wait the very last minute. Even an event happening today in New York was canceled just a couple of days ago because this is scary and this is also has a negative impact on the economy of the companies, and also you have people who are coming. It's not easy for them to cancel the last minute.
We were talking about South by Southwest yesterday, and there was a report in the Wall Street Journal, an interview with the founder of that company about the fact that they did not have insurance for a pandemic.
Yes, absolutely.
Most of your clients,
they don't have.
They do not have.
No, they do not have because this is what we call cas de force majeure, and insurance, unfortunately, are not insuring you for that.
And so when there are conversations with sponsors, for example, or others that have paid money to be participants...
It's case by case, and you have to negotiate with your clients. And I am in the middle, just for my company, 7 major events were postponed to the fall, 2020, or even the spring 2021.
What is your worry that this is going to change the business of gatherings long term? Meaning that people were talking about Zoom as a company where people are going to do telepresence and things, and more people are going to work from home, not just right now, but potentially there's a view that that could extend itself out into the future because we're going to learn a new way of doing things.
I don't think so it will happen. I think it's something which is temporary. We are involved on some G20 events coming for the whole year 2020 in Saudi Arabia. And when I see how the attendance is during this digital event, it's not the same, I would say, commitment. It's not so easy to have very deep conversation virtually. I'm personally convinced that the face-to-face gathering is still very important, and it will still happen from the second semester.
And then my other question is, in terms of what I call the circuit, there's sort of a circuit of these events. Is it possible that because of this, because of the virus and the fact that even one gets missed, that there's a new scramble a year from now to create competition for those events? So, for example, Cannes is happening in June. Still, I think, is on the calendar. I don't think it's been knocked off just yet. If that were to be canceled completely...
It could not happen virtually.
No, but does it return absolutely next June with the same type of attendance? Does somebody else try to front run them and create a new event? I mean, I think there's sort of an interesting...
I don't think there is a risk. I could be wrong, but the brand is strong enough to definitely come back even stronger in the next edition.
Right.
You know, I don't think there is a potential damage. I think it's a temporary crisis.
Right.
We need to look at it very calmly.
There are a handful of publicly traded companies. Can, by the way, is run by a publicly traded company that also runs Money, or Money 2020.
Correct. But at the end of the day, you know, many governments are trying to put some financial incentive to support some companies.
And that was my final question, which is we're going to start talking about bailouts. Is your industry going to be going hand in hand to Washington and elsewhere saying, we need money because we're falling to pieces here? How many people are going to go bankrupt because of this?
Oh, I personally think that the small companies will be very impacted. And I'm thinking that 20% of the industry will potentially go bankrupt.
20% of the industry will go bankrupt?
20% of the industry, because you have a lot of small players. You know, a million of companies.
Right.
It's an industry with a lot of small players who unfortunately cannot financially resist to the lack of cash, because it's a cash industry.
Richard Attias, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.